standing up when we just pounced on you and asked you to be the MC this evening. That's very, very nicely done. Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for making the effort to come out tonight. We really appreciate it. Because we've all sort of come together for such a special occasion, I should mention, I think first and foremost, the donors that have helped to actually bring you all here today. Some of these donors include the Victorian Multicultural Commission, Action Aid, World Vision, Caritas, Amnesty, the Uniting Church Synod of Victoria and Tasmania, and Oxfam. So I'd like to thank all those organisations for putting their money where their mouth is to really make this happen. So thank you for that. So we're all here today also because of the idea of a very special person who doesn't happen to be here this evening. But we should remember that the Humanitarian Crisis Hub was the brainchild of Mr. Brendan Ross, who was my predecessor at Oxfam and a dear friend to many of us here. So I just want to put that up there. I'm not going to take credit for any of this tonight. Very much Brendan's idea. Brendan is now using his fabulous ideas in Jerusalem with Action Aid. So we remember him and thank him for sowing the seed to bring us all together here tonight. Brendan, being the ideas man, as we call him, this is just one of his many great ideas. He looked at the Humanitarian Crisis Hub from a couple of really interesting angles. One of those being he felt a real need for people who had come from overseas and come and live in Australia to build some strong social connections, to increase civil participation and to support meaningful social action. So this is one of the angles that he looked at this from. It was people that had fled from conflict, from war, from a whole range of situations to come and live in Australia. And he wanted to strengthen their community as a very diverse community, but strengthen them, build networks and be able to build their capacity and just their comfort zone within Australia, feel welcome in Australia and part of the social fabric. So that's the first kind of really interesting way in which he looked at it. He then lay over the lens of what's happening in the rest of the world, the 60+ conflicts that are happening at the moment, and how this diverse diaspora of communities could actually not just come together to support one another, but to support their friends and families and loved ones who are overseas and still in these really bad situations. So, as you know, many of the donors for the Humanitarian Crisis Hub work in the humanitarian field. They're also involved in advocacy and trying to bring about change. But it can be quite tricky when you're an international organisation with operations in the field. It's quite often to actually speak out publicly on a lot of these issues because then your operations are often closed down by friendly or not so friendly governments. So Brendan, in his innovative way of thinking, thought, well, how can we bring people together who actually know what's going on, who actually have people, friends, family, loved ones, who actually have the information and knowledge of what's going on, and actually, how can we bring their voices to the fore, because they are the voices that are actually the most powerful. So this is how it all sort of came together. Brendan brought in some very skilled and wonderful people like Denise. And Denise and her very wonderful group of volunteers, who I'd like to thank so much for all their hard work, their ideas, their dedication, their time. It's been fantastic. And I'd like to thank also the committee that have come together, the governance committee, that are helping to run the Humanitarian Crisis Hub. We're coming up with a whole bunch of policies at the moment to try and get things up and running, a resource mobilisation strategy, a strategic plan, a community engagement strategy, all the kind of things to try and ensure that the Humanitarian Crisis Hub will remain really innovative and sort of have that get up and go. So I'm just really pleased you could all come here tonight, and I would just like to really thank once again to the donors and also to the volunteers and Denise. So thanks a lot.